welcome to one and all out here at Crossword. A few words. Crossword firstly aims to be a point of social and cultural interaction, a place where authors and poets hold court and children are regaled, and most people, just like all of us, gravitate to be informed, entertained, and enlightened. This evening falls no short of that promise. I very proudly welcome and, of course, look forward to a very enlightening discussion along with the author out here with us. Please put your hands together and receive Jerry Pinto, the author to the title M and the Big Hoom. And alongside, we've got a very charming young lady in Saloni Meghani. Please put your hands together and receive Saloni out here, the features editor of Mumbai Mirror. She's done her master's in fine arts from New York University, originally from Jamshedpur, but presently in the city of Mumbai. That's where she resides. This evening, as we take forth this conversation, I'd like to share a few words about the book as we anxiously look forward to the discussion. M and the Big Hoom, set in Mumbai, Bombay during the last decades of the 20th century. The book tells the compelling story of the Mendeses, mother, father, daughter, and son. Both M, the beedi-smoking, hyperactive mother driven frequently to hospital by her mania and failed suicide attempts, and the Big Hoom, the solid, rock, dependable father, trying to hold things together as best as he can. They are an extraordinary family, filled with endearing and eccentric characters and marked with sparkling dialogue and restrained emotion. This is one of the most powerful and moving novels to be published in India for a long time. The wonderful gentleman who made it all possible, Jerry Pinto, he lives and works in Mumbai. He has been a mathematics tutor, school librarian, journalist, and columnist. He is now associated with Mail Joel, an NGO that works in the sphere of child rights. His published works include Surviving Women, Helen, The Life and Times of an H-Bomb, which won the National Award for the Best Book on Cinema in 2007, and Bombay Meri Jaan, Writings on Mumbai, co-edited with Naresh Fernandez. M and the Big Hoom is his first novel. And we're not holding you back any longer. With much pleasure, I'd like to hand it over to Saloni to take us through with this conversation and getting Jerry to go forward with all the conversation and answering every question that all of us have got for this evening.
There's been some confusion. I'm Jerry Pinto. Okay, so I've known Jerry for about 15 years. He taught me in '96. And I've always expected this novel from him. But even then, when I read it, I was really deeply moved and surprised. He's really taken it to this really moving place. And I'm going to quote Kiran Desai and read out what she says about him because she expresses what I mean. Using all the strength of his enormous talent, his natural empathy, Pinto chases the elusive portrait of a mother who simply said of herself that she was mad. As I read this novel, that also portrays a very tender marriage and the life of a Goan family in Bombay, it drowned me. I mean that in the best way. It plunged me into a world so vivid that when I finished, I found something had shifted and changed within myself. This is a world of magnified and dark emotion. The anger is a primal force, the sadness wild and raw. Against this, the jokes are hilarious, reckless, free-falling. This is a rare and brilliant book, unlike any other that I have read coming out of India. And this is exactly what I would like to say about this book. I'm going to hand over the mic to you. Would you like to start by reading something?
Okay, I'd just like to say that, in the repertoire of faces that we have now, there are new expressions that are developing every day. I watch people's faces all the time for how they look, and there are new ironic expressions. And one of the things that one has to learn is how to receive a compliment with the correct expression on one's face. I have no idea how to do that, so often I end up looking as though I'm mocking the person who's making the compliment, which is not intentional. What I mean is, I love that. I want very much to hear more of that. Tell me, give me that compliment better. Keep telling me this stuff. But it just doesn't work on my face. My face doesn't bring that to the front. So when you say nice things about my book, I may be looking at you saying, yeah, yeah. But actually what I mean is, I love you, I love you. The expression on my face, if you don't like my book, you will discover as we go along. I'll read you a short passage. Has anyone seen me on YouTube? If you have seen me on YouTube, then I won't read that passage. But if you have not, then I can read it. One of the things that I always do is I forget to bring my own copy. I have a reading copy because Amitav Ghosh has a copy which he calls a reading copy of his books. And they're very battered because they've been taken all over the world and whatnot. So when I saw his reading copy, I marked in my head the idea that I would have a reading copy. So I have a reading copy, but I leave it behind. I never bring it to readings. So it's not even getting suitably battered in the way I had hoped it would be. At one point in the pharmacopoeia, and I'm so happy to have Viji Venkatesh here, because the first time I ever did a reading, Viji Venkatesh said pretty much what that gentleman said, except that she said, Crossword is a place where we hope readers will... You remember? Yeah. It was really lovely. And it was actually Crossword at Mahalakshmi Chambers was the first place where there was the notion of a book reading. And the second notion was that you could come in, sit down and read free. I think both these things radically re-inscribed what reading meant to many Bombay people. Thank you, Viji, and thank you, Crossword, for being this wonderful, welcoming space. And thank you, Neha, for making this possible, and Virat for stocking so many books in an optimistic fashion. And of course, all of you who have come, sort of like come here. Last but not the least, as they all. My mother had this problem, but the problem with lithium carbonate is also that it is a poison. I was in Chennai recently, and one of the people who came for my reading said that his mother, who had been a bipolar patient, would have loved to come, but since she'd been on lithium for 20 years, she'd just fallen and broken both of her feet. Because lithium makes your bones extremely brittle if you've been taking it over a long period of time. So every month, Susan or I would take her for a blood test because lithium carbonate was a poison and could not be allowed to accumulate in her body.